right, welcome back to In His Mind. So, as far as with this, the Unseen Realms, or whatever the video is called, I haven't finished it, but it's really good. I'll put it in the link below. This doesn't directly tie into it, but the verse did pop up there, and I was reminded of this, and I recently talked to my friend using it as well. It's interesting here, and there's not too much that talks about it. The background ties in with Jehoshaphat and Ahab getting ready for a war or a fight or something, and how Ahab's false prophets assure victory. That's kind of like the headlines of this particular part here. 2 Chronicles 18, starting with verse 18, I think. Give me a second. So Micah said, "Therefore hear the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host, in parentheses, army, of heaven standing on his right and on his left." And some actually refer this differently, rather than just simply an army, but like an angelic host of different angels and swords. And there's some speculation as far as what that could mean. It's very interesting. Then the Lord said, "Who will entice Ahab, king of Israel, to go up and fall," in parentheses, defeated, "at Ramoth Gilead?" And one said this and another said that. Verse 20. Then a spirit came forward and stood before the Lord and said, "I will entice him." The Lord said to him, "By what means?" He said, "I will go out and be a deceptive spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." Then the Lord said, "You are to entice him and also succeed. Go and do so." Verse 22. Now you see the Lord put a deceptive spirit in the mouth of these prophets of yours, and that the Lord has actually proclaimed disaster against you. There's definitely some interesting parts here afterwards. Zedekiah son of Chaniah came up and struck Micaiah on the cheek, and it definitely goes into conflict from there because of like how Micah, I think I'm saying his name right, how he was a prophet and he didn't care about, face value and how he looked or appeared to others. He only wanted to speak the truth. He wanted to do what was right in the sight of the Lord, in the sight of God, and how others were playing some sort of political game, so to speak. I mean, Micah even was in prison at the very end here. He even says in verse 27, "But Micah said, 'If you actually return in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me.' And he added, 'Listen to what I have said, you people, all of you.'" It's crazy. It really is. Now, I don't think this directly ties in with dreams, so to speak, but one of the things that I've noticed, because he was in my life for over 13 years, is that there are similarities between some of these verses and this passage in particular, with this being this entity that was in my life. One of them being is, it's hard to describe him. It really is. He felt old, he felt ancient, he was very cold in a lot of ways, but not necessarily uncaring, and didn't have malice, didn't have anger. Felt like he had been around for a while and that he was there for a purpose, though it was hard to discern what that was. He never said any words, he never spoke. So certain things are very hard to put in perspective, just because there's a lack there that makes it harder to figure things out. But that being said, the feelings, the ideas, the images, the nonverbal communication that did happen has led me to believe that if he was an angel, he was someone who knew combat, who knew how to fight, and more importantly, how to take out the opposition of the enemy. Now, what that means, I don't know, but it could very well, since the spirits out there, those in the spiritual realm, they're not physical, they don't die in the way that humans do. It could very well be that he would take and imprison them, like something along the lines of that, which is also pretty darn horrifying when you realize what exactly that could mean if you have someone in your life, something in your life that was capable of doing that. He didn't have any humor. He wasn't always serious, but he didn't have humor in the way that humans do. And as far as I recall, he never found anything funny. So there was a lot there that made me realize a couple of things, some towards the end. And overall, while there is still definitely confusion there, trying to put pieces together and figure out some of the questions and all that, I don't believe he was someone who was in opposition to God. From everything that I've learned, everything that I've seen, my experiences over those years, leads me to believe that he was somehow following his orders, or that he had volunteered to go do something specifically. Why me? I don't know. I really don't know. None of this stuff makes much sense, and honestly, it just kind of came out of nowhere, really. Just kind of happened one day, and then a week before Christmas of 2019, which literally was, probably around the time COVID kicked off, from what I hear, is when he actually left. So, these spirits, from what I have understood, is that directly seeing them, face to face, they usually start off in the Bible with the whole "be not afraid, do not fear," or some other types of encouragement. When looking at the birth of Jesus, when the angel that appeared to Mary, the angel in the garden, when with the tombstone, where he rolled it out of the way, and the guards were terrified and were pale. Like these stories involving these beings, they were terrifying enough for them to warrant encouragement of some kind, which leads me to believe that they're probably very terrifying in vision, like visually, and probably even through the words that they said. But who knows? They've been reported to have taken the guise, the form of humans. Pastor Rick, I think I mentioned him before, but I'll mention him again. Back during my time at New Hope Academy in 2003, he had a story where he was under the influence of drugs, I think, weed or something, where he overdosed, something that he overdosed on, and how this angel, in a female body, tapped him on the shoulder and he woke up instantly with all effects gone, and how he remembered that he was saved on that day because he likely would have OD'd and just died. He ended up turning his life around soon after that and became a pastor. He's a really awesome guy, bald, and loved getting his using his electric trimmers to go trim off his head, and it helped wake him up every day. Crazy. I miss the guy. I hope he's doing well, but honestly, he may have passed on. I don't know where he's at. Great guy. Anyway, he had that testimony of that personal encounter where he ended up waking up. He was woken up by the tap on the shoulder specifically. There was no other touch or connection that he remembers, or that I remember him saying about. He was visiting for a day. I think he stopped by another day and then left, so it was probably either a day or 2 days, but he was gone after that. No idea where he went. I don't remember anything else about him. But Pastor Rick Hopkins, great guy. He was a big, round, jolly fellow. So he was very encouraging in a lot of ways, and he loved to pray. He loved to speak out on other things that I don't really remember much about, but I do remember him. I remember him being there. Yeah, so as far as thoughts being about the passage, I think it's totally acceptable. I think there's lots of explanations as far as why, according to some of the Native Americans and some others, why there are spirits out there doing God's bidding that do not fulfill the roles of messengers, that do not fill the roles that, protectors, guide, counselors of some kind. Like, their job is specifically tied elsewhere. So as far as everything else with Dream goes, because that's what I call him, I have no idea what his name is, but I call him Dream. I can only speculate on some parts. The rest of it, I wish I had concrete answers, but maybe it's best maybe it's best left unsaid, simply because if I knew the truth, it would probably cause more issues. I discussed more down below in this video that I will also link down below too. An update on Dream. All right. Just wanted to put this out for a couple minutes, and I hope it's something that is thought-provoking. All right. Take it easy.